Hi everybody, it's Erin Scott here. Happy Sagittarius new moon. We start a new cycle of growth and I'm actually recording this essentially exactly at the time. Right now it's 10:06 a.m. and the exact time was a minute ago. So this is the energy literally of this recording of this new moon, and not only this new moon today, which is November 26, 2019, not only this week, which has potent energies activated, but for the month ahead, because every new moon is a new cycle of growth monthly. So let's take a look. I really haven't studied this moon. We have just, exited a process of a fully incorporated, fully involved, fully focused Mercury retrograde cycle in Sagittarius. And when I say that, what I mean is that the point at which it went retrograde, which I believe was at 27 degrees Scorpio, and then the point at which it went direct was 11 degrees Scorpio. So the entirety of the retrograde process was in Scorpio. And this is about deep psychological reviews, assessments, thoughts. A lot of stuff from the past might have come up in your psyche for feeling, for feeling. So a lot of stuff, history, trauma signature stuff from childhood might have come up. Depending too on where you have Scorpio in your natal blueprint, your natal chart, your blueprint, your encoded life story, depending on where you have it, what house it's in, where you are having this retrograded activity of reminding, right? So where you had this reminding process of deep psychological narratives that live within your psyche could have been anywhere in any particular area of your life, depending on where you hold it. And also depending on where you are currently evolving according to your progressed evolutionary process, right? So there's essentially two areas that are predominantly activated for you. And then there's a third area, which is your solar return cycle. So what that indicates is that there were particular areas of your life that were being transmutated mentally. There could have been communications that occurred during this Mercury retrograde process which activated a transformational process. Something kind of deep, something connected to a past wound or trauma that is part and parcel to your current evolutionary process and movement forward. There could have been a new level of power activated for you. And I'm realizing I'm talking a lot about the Mercury retrograde, which we just exited, but it is still in shadow. We have Mercury right now, as you can see, everybody, Mercury at 14 degrees Scorpio, at the point at us having this new moon. Sun and moon conjunct at 4 degrees, 3 minutes Sagittarius, okay? So the chart that we're looking at here is an Eastern U.S. chart. So we're going to focus more on the planetary placements here versus the ascendant point in Capricorn. Certainly for those in the Eastern U.S., it's significant because we have Saturn and Pluto right here at the ascendant point, which can create a very serious focus on what needs to be transformed for us as individuals. In general, what's happening now, of course, as Saturn continues to move toward Pluto for the exact conjunction that's going to happen at 22 degrees Capricorn on January 12th, 2020, is that we are approaching that apex point. We're already getting indications. In fact, the Mercury retrograding process that we've just come through and that we're still really processing with this Mercury shadow period that we're still in, we are reevaluating our identity when it comes to security, money, work, goals, aspirations, reputation. All of those things are being completely reassessed and transformed. And there will be, come the beginning of 2020, some point of focus, some point of focused transformation that will occur in a particular area of your life depending on where you hold 22 degrees Capricorn. Now, for those interested, you can be in touch for a 2020 analysis that goes through not only your transit activations, but your progressed journey, your evolutionary process currently, and how that's going to be activated by the 2022 conjunction points at the top of the year and at the end of the year, but also your solar return processes as well. We look at all the various layers. I also take a peek at your solar arc chart just to see if there's any particular direct activation happening during the 2020 cycle. So it's a very comprehensive analysis, but I do recommend that for those interested that you order it sooner rather than later because there's a bit of a lead time now. Okay, so with regards to this new moon, let's take a look at it. First of all, it's at a 4-degree point, right? So we want to look at the numerology. Numbers have function, and that function operates in our lives. So 4 is a very organized, it's a very structured, it's a very linear, stable number. The number evokes stability and organization, okay? Now, whenever the sun and moon are together, there is an alignment of inner and outer. There's a particular for people born, for example, with sun and moon conjunct, there is a particular confidence that people hold that have that conjunction. It's not without its growth edges. It's not without its wound sets. It depends on what's activated for the individual in the chart. But there is a particular confidence that the person holds. It's almost a comfort in the skin. Even though they might have wound sets, there's a particular groundedness with the sun-moon conjunct person, okay? There's a confidence that they emit. Now, for all of us, though, every month when we have this sun-moon conjunction point, this is a big deal because it's the outer and inner self coming together for a reboot, for a new narrative. And every month, of course, it happens in a new archetype. Right? It goes into a new archetype for the new moon. This month it's in the archetype of Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. So what does this have to do with? There's some new narrative happening for you and for the collective that has to do with belief systems. It has to do with your construct of reality. It has to do with your worldview. Okay? Now, depending on your particular natal chart and your particular blueprint, your particular encoded life story, this is happening in a distinct area for you. Most specifically, your belief system around what? Now, Sagittarius is also about expansion. What's next? It's looking ahead. It's optimism. It's optimistically looking for new experiences for expansion. Ultimately, that's what we're talking about here. It has to do with teachers and teachings, philosophies, ultimately all the things that we learn through new experiences and travel and cultural interchange and higher education and all of this stuff which creates our belief system, everybody. So what do we have happening with this moon? Amazingly, we have Lilith behind it, meaning the conjunction, and we have Pallas Athena ahead of it. I want you to think about that. Lilith is sitting behind by, 7 degrees? And Pallas Athena is ahead of it by 3 degrees. So what does that indicate? Well, the archetype of Lilith, and by the way, this is the asteroid Lilith. This is the asteroid 1181, okay, for those interested. So this asteroid Lilith, which is connected to the narrative of the new narrative of self, in the archetype of Sag, which is talking about our belief system. So with the new narrative for this end of November through the end of December timeframe, as we round out, in other words, 2019, we're looking at our belief systems and the past mythology of Lilith and the future embodiment of Pallas Athena. Inherently, that's what this is about. Now, excuse me, Lilith is the archetype of I am not valuable. I am ignored. I am not seen. I am devalued. I am debased. I'm disrespected. I am erased. That's Lilith. Okay? Now, Lilith is sitting, as we enter this new moon cycle for this month ahead, in beautiful Scorpio ruled by Pluto. So this is about powerful forces demeaning the native or the individual or the self. Do you understand? Scorpio, Pluto demeaning the woman, Lilith. Scorpio, Pluto demeaning by dominance or power constructs or power manipulations, the feminine quality sets within each individual. Do you understand? So what this has to do with is belief systems about past mythology of being overpowered. I am victim to the powers that be. I don't have power. Okay? The new narrative, the narrative in front of this aligned self and the belief systems of who I am, okay? The belief system of who I am has Pallas Athena right in front of it. That does seem to indicate that the future that is wanting to emerge is the goddess Athena, the goddess of wisdom, the goddess of war. This is the empowered feminine, which has been arising over the last many years. But man, is it on fire now or what? It is. There will be people who disagree with that, but the reality is it's emerging, it's burgeoning, it's breaking through. There's a new rooted, grounded taproot of a remembering of inherent power. Okay? So that is emerging. Is it part of the exact alignment yet of our belief system? No. There's still the myth hanging on. There's the myth hanging on, everybody. Now, the aligned self and who we believe ourselves to be is trining Varuna, right? We still have Varuna in that 3-degree portal in Leo. So we have this trine, a harmonic relationship about the new belief system of self, or the belief system of self that's evolving from the Lilith anchoring and the enslavement of I don't have power to the new narrative of I am power. That is trining Varuna, which is confidence. It's actually Varuna Leo. So there's a lot of confidence in skill sets, creative abilities, the ability to step up and be a leader, be seen in this way or that way. Okay? But please understand as you hear me say that not everybody is here to be loud and seen. Not everybody is intended for that. It's not part of everybody's blueprint. And I think part of the false narrative that a lot of people are following now is that the ego is almost in hyperdrive for a lot of individuals who feel that they're seeing things clearly, they're waking up, oh, I need to tell my story, I need to tell my story, I need to tell my story. Well, sure, tell your story. You know, but it does make for an active collective field of a lot of noise. And so eventually we might get to the place of understanding that, do we really need to tell our story? Do we really need to share everything we see on video? Do we actually need to blog about every single thing that comes into the mind? Well, maybe not. Some people do, though. The right things are happening. The right persons are coming up and speaking up in this way and that. And it's necessary. It's all part of the soup. But my point is, not all of you, a lot of people, many people, are here to actually be the change and embody the change through grace, through quiet, through silence, through meditation, through other ways of operating that are not always loud, not always visual. Okay, so the Varuna, in other words, in Leo is going to show up differently, is going to catalyze differently, everybody, in different people. Please honor your own blueprint. For those who don't have clarity on their current, for those who don't have clarity on their naturally encoded career alignment, you can be in touch. All my links are below. Okay. And I say career, it's really your life alignment, but that shows up as career. Okay. Now, what else do we have here? We have the trine also to the wounded healer Chiron down here. So as this kind of new identity and who we believe ourselves to be, who we thought we were and who we are becoming, as we are re-believing ourselves, as Mercury is still in deep psychological shadow here, we also have this trine down here to Chiron. I'm going to take a little sip of my coffee here. Okay, beauties. And as part of the grand trine here with Varuna, see. So we have a grand trine with this kind of the new belief of self connected to tapping into the confidence of the self, the confidence of the self-actualized and expressed self, creatively expressed self, etc., and connected to Chiron. Chiron at 1 degrees Aries. This is essentially right at the beginning of the new zodiacal cycle of the human experience. Chiron at 1 degrees. It's not 0, but it's at 1 degrees Aries. This is like the self navigating the insecurities, the vulnerabilities, and the woundings of the identity, of the self, of the vital life force flame that lives within you. You know, Mars ruling Aries. This is the body of the self, but it's certainly the fire within the self, right? And it's also the confidence of the self. With Chiron for the next many years moving through Aries, we have insecurity that we are contending with. And simultaneously with that, as we navigate that journey, we're also stepping into the Chiron master teacher healer as individuals. Why? Because we're talking Chiron and Aries. So the individuals are rising in their way, in their distinct individual way, all various ways of being teachers, healers, role models, etc., are valid and valuable, in fact, invaluable, right? It doesn't all look the same. Everybody has their own role here. Okay, and it's all valuable equally, by the way, equally. So with that trine activated, in fact, this grand trine, grand fire trine, it does indicate that there is juice behind the month ahead, because what we're doing when we're looking at this Sagittarius new moon, we're looking at the month of December, essentially. And indeed, there's fire to access the confidence within and meet any kind of vulnerabilities or insecurities, woundings that might be creating self-doubt as we step into our powerful selves as teacher healer. Okay? So it's about re-believing who we are and really tapping into this emerging Pallas Athena embodiment. Now, Pallas Athena is at 7 degrees here, right? We have 749, which is interesting, right? 7 times 7 is 49. So we have a lot of 7 energy here. 7 is the narrative of the great mystery. It's life. It's that which is the seen and the known and the unknown. And ultimately, we can't know everything. Life itself, living systems itself, can't ever always be known. It never can all be known. There's always the mystery. There's always the trickster. There's always the emergent aspect. There's always the miracle. There's always that which can arise. So that's number 7. And so the beautiful thing about the empowered feminine, the goddess Athena, at number 749, 7 times 7, that brings a 777 energy to the fore here. And that's quite fascinating because indeed, what do I want to say with that? 777 with the goddess. Let me think about that, everybody. I mean, obviously, 777 speaks to like windfall, good luck, you know, winning an abundance of money. It's almost like when we believe ourselves, and this is, by the way, authentic belief system. This is not a superficial belief system. I'm going to fake it till I make it. I don't buy into that. And some people do. And if you do, great. That's your story and your journey. All is well. But for me, this is not about fake embodiment of the empowered feminine. It's about tapping into it. And when you tap into it, when you actually connect in to the authenticism of the empowered feminine within you, right? The rooted feminine, the wise crone energy. This is wisdom embodied. This is experiential wisdom embodied. And it has a fire to it, but it's a grounded fire. Okay? But the point is 777 with this embodiment of this new empowered feminine that is continuing to arise, emerge, be part of the new rooted reality of the new human. That whole thing, when you do that, when you embody that, there is, let's say, good, benefic processes that could really come forward. That's what I want to say. Now, there's something else that we want to kind of look at here. This 4-degree sun moon is quincunxing Uranus in Taurus, and it's quincunxing the nodal point at now 8 degrees 44 minutes. Now, the thing that's not shown here is that this 8 degrees and this 3 degrees, these are actually sextile, and I don't know why the program didn't show it, right? But this is a yod here. We have a yod happening here very distinctly. And the yod is telling us, it's pointing at the sun-moon alignment with the belief. I have to tell you all, I'm having deja vu here. And the funny thing is, do you know what I'm having deja vu about? I'm actually having deja vu about doing one of these recordings several years ago, and in the recording saying that I'm having deja vu, which is true. In fact, it was around maybe even the Sagittarius new moon. It was around November, December that I was doing this recording. But in fact, I'm having deja vu as I speak this to you. And the deja vu is about saying that I'm having deja vu. So what does that mean? You know, currently we have Venus and Jupiter conjunct. Venus was exactly conjunct Jupiter a couple days ago. Yesterday, Venus was living at a 29-degree point here in Sagittarius. Now it's already entered Capricorn. So as we meet this new aligned belief about the self, we also have Venus entering Saturnian, Capricornian territory. What we value in our ethic is going through a process of maturity over the course of the next few weeks. Okay, so this is a big deal. In fact, you know what? Let me grab my ephemeris. I'm going to look to see what the timing is for Venus there. Yeah, Venus will be going through Capricorn through December 19th. So for the majority of December, right? What did I want to say with that? The yod. I wanted to talk about the yod. Sorry, everybody, I'm losing track a little bit. There was something here that took me. What was it? Well, let's finish talking about the yod and it will come back. The yod is pointing to the new belief of self. So that's the goal, or that's, let's say, the impetus. That's the natural impetus for growth and evolution over the course of this 30-day cycle. Okay? And it's connected to the North Node here. The North Node in Cancer, the evolutionary major growth arc of connecting more to the feminine, connecting to the feminine quality sets within the human. Each individual to connect to their own feelings, to realize that feelings are the emotional guidance system, to connect with the intuitive guidance system and skill sets, to connect with the right brain, and holistic seeing, long view seeing, connecting to family and connectedness. right? So the growth edge is this connectedness, emotional connectedness. The sextile is to Uranus in Taurus, which is creating a frequency up-leveling when it comes to our material reality. And that can create chaos as things shift and change with regards to physicality, all kinds of things. Food systems, financial systems will shift and change, not become material anymore, but will become digitalized, etc. So lots of shifts and changes going on, right? But this shift and change with value, because that's another thing governed by Taurus, ruled by Venus, is our sense of self-value and how we meet our basic essential needs. Well, the belief about who you are is keyed into that. So the changes that are happening is also mirroring the changes of how you value self. So how you value the self is linked by sextile to the growth of connecting to your own feelings and emotions. And that both of these are pointing by difficult crisis quincunxes, these dissonant energies, to this new belief of self, which again is part of the growth process for this month ahead. So it's a very significant time, everybody, this month of rebelieving yourself and utilizing this time of Mercury shadow. In fact, let me take a look at that as well. So Mercury will be in shadow until about the 7th of December, everybody. So I'm recording this on the 26th of November. So we have what, about 10, 11 days or so left. So there's going to be, let's say, continued deep dive into your mind, into your psychology, into your trauma sets, the narratives that live within, the desire for deeper understandings and connections to your own storylines and to your power. And this isn't about stepping into the abuse of power or the over articulation of power because it's stemming from a wound set of no power. This is about stepping into a true articulation of power. And in fact, Mercury right now is trining that 8-degree north node, and Mars, right? So Mars in Scorpio, Mercury still in shadow but going direct in Scorpio, are both, again, this is the signature for the energies for the month ahead, trining that north node of connecting to the feelings, connectedness within. Not searching outside, where the south node is in Capricorn, not searching for the government to, or the politicians, or the father figures, or the patriarchy, or any of the systems that are currently in play that are creating the social systems that are part of our everyday matrix. It's not about reliance on that for the security. The security is about connectedness within. What is your truth? And this trine up here to the reminded mind, the reminded thinking and understandings, and our plutonic action, our scorpionic action, how we do step into our power, and awareness around how we might manipulate in order to feel powerful if we actually have a wound set going on of no power. And that's definitely shown here with this Lilith. So I hope that this was, there's obviously more to speak to here. I'll have another video coming out around the full moon time this month as well. And hopefully the scopes will come out. I apologize everybody for the November scopes, but they couldn't come through. But they're going to come hopefully in this month ahead as we round out 2019, which is such a key time. What I will say to all of you is that I am going to offer some sales for Black Friday. For those interested, you can visit my website. You can also sign up for, to receive announcements on sales and things like that. But for those intrigued, you can see the links below this video, right? All right, everybody. Lots of stuff activated for a lot of people. I do send you so much love and good wishes for your Thanksgiving. I hope those of you in the U.S. have a sane, grounded, and peaceful Thanksgiving. There is a lot going on politically in the U.S. that certainly the globe knows about. It's widespread information about the impeachment hearings and all of the myriad stories arising around this particular topic. In addition to that, there are leaders in other countries that are meeting an ethical wall, and there's a lot of karmic processes going on. So I wish you all well, and I wish you peace for this particular week ahead for a lot of you, and even for the month of December as we round out this year. For those interested in connecting with me and having more understanding about your natal blueprint, your life story, and your processes for the 2020 cycle, you can be in touch with the link below. All right, everybody. Much love. Bye-bye.